Hey yo, I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. Today we're taking a look at a slightly older G.I. Joe release. So we're actually going back to 2003 today with the Spy Troops line. G.I. Joe versus Cobra Spy Troops to be more exact. And today we're taking a look at the Air Assault with Barrel Roll. So these came out again, like I said, 2003. This has the barrel roll figure, and he's got the Air Assault glider thing. And so the cool thing about this particular line was you had accessories that were interchangeable, so the G.I. Joes essentially could go undercover as Cobra agents, and vice versa. Some of the Cobra folks had, G.I. Joe kind of armor and things like that. So I thought it'd be just kind of fun to take a look at this one, since it is not one of the mainstream ones right now, and it was just sitting on the shelf, so collecting dust. So I thought, let's just go ahead and take it off the shelf and open the thing up and just see what this thing was. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing, so stick with us. So here is the Air Assault with Barrel Roll from the Spy Troops line from G.I. Joe. This is one of the deluxe figure packages, basically vehicle and figure rolled into one. See the back of it right here. And this came out in 2003. So yeah, these were pretty cool because they did have, interchangeable costume accessories to kind of let them pose as, Cobras or Joes, depending on which way you go about it. So anyways, let's go ahead and open this thing up. So just a regular blister pack here, so I'm just going to use our X-Acto knife here. And the bubble's kind of lifting off on this one anyways, so pretty nice packaging anyways, but we don't need that anymore, so it goes into our recycling bin. So we've got this stuff, which has essentially the file card and all the rest of this stuff in it. Inside the package, there's the inserts and everything. So beyond that, clip and save your file cards. So inside we have the instruction sheet / blueprints for the Air Assault. Pretty straightforward, nothing too major. We'll go ahead and get a scan of this for y'all so you can see it a little up close. Then we have this really cool mini comic that comes with these things. This is Chapter 3, Chief Torpedo versus Burnout. It does have a pretty cool comic in here. If I can, I'll try to scan these in individually so y'all can kind of follow along in the book. And then on the back is a bunch of the other figures. So it's a pretty cool looking catalog. But yeah. And then we actually have the figure itself. So this is actually a 2-tier system. It just kind of nests upon one another. So we'll pull one of them out, and then we've got all the little accessories and stuff, and then the other one has this. So We'll go ahead and just pull everything out first. We'll start with the figure. He does just come with a rifle here. Then we've got the main part of the air assault glider. It's got this cool shield thing. So you can kind of see they've kind of attached this so that it's got the little things stuck inside the plastic. So they're a little awkward to get out. Or you can just pop it off and the missiles detach. That seems to be the easier way to do it. Then the accessory pack has the rest of the wings. And the other missiles. And then the armor pieces, and they do have this kind of taped on there to keep it from sloshing around in transit. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the tape on it here, so it makes it easier for us to get out. We've got a small helmet, which looks pretty cool actually. I think these are the wrist guards. And then the chest piece. Oh no, yeah. All in all, pretty cool looking gear. Quite a few little accessories in here. So I guess next we will just go ahead and zoom in on this thing and take a closer look and review the figure, and then go ahead and assemble the air assault glider and go from there. So yeah, pretty good amount of accessories in this kit. The assembly process is actually pretty easy on this thing. So the main piece we have here is just a glider body. And it does have really cool detail work on it here. You've got this Gatling gun on it, and like a bullet chain, and some smaller blasters on the side. And on the back side, you've got the peg for it to attach to the backs and the handlebars. So pretty cool looking. And then these wing pieces, they're actually pretty heavy. So that's kind of cool. And it's got, again, a lot of detail work on this thing. So it's actually pretty cool looking. Assembly process is pretty simple. You just attach these wings. They've got these little notches on them with this long notch and this little bitty notch here. And you just match them up with the corresponding grooves on the side. And luckily they will only fit in one way. But you just kind of snap them in place like that. Then the other side does the same way. And you've got the main body. Then all you really have to do is just attach these really cool looking missiles. And again, they do have these kind of dumbbell notches on them. And they kind of line up with the notches on the side. So you just kind of put them in place and just snap them in there. And voila, that's pretty much all there is for the assembly process. The cool thing about this, you know, again, it is the Spy Troops line, so you've got some options here. So move these out of the way. This is essentially the G.I. Joe version of it, the G.I. Joe glider mode. To convert it to the Cobra glider mode, it's actually pretty simple. You just pop the actual gray missiles off. And it wants you to detach the wings and attach them to the underside here. So we just move them from the outside to the inside. Like so. Then we take these really cool red missiles, which are actually kind of made to look like little snakes. They got some really nice detail work in here as far as the scales and everything, and you can kind of see the Cobra face there in it. So that's pretty cool looking. But again, they have the same notch pattern on them, and they just attach to the sides. One there, one on this side. And then the last piece is this really cool shield. And it just attaches to the top. So as you see, there are these two peg holes in the top. And on the back of this shield, there are also two pegs. So you just line up the pegs with the peg holes and snap it in place. And that's pretty much it. That's the Cobra glider mode. Pretty straightforward. So again, you can mix and match these things. So if you want the wings to be on the outside here, they fit, and then these things will fit right in here underneath. So really the only difference is it attaches the red missiles and this cool looking Cobra shield. So yeah, you can kind of make it be whichever one you want it to be, whichever version you want it to be. And that was the big draw about the Spy Troops lineup, is that you have many options and you can kind of configure it the way you want it configured. And get tons of replayability out of them that way. Now as far as the backpack thing, it is kind of a larger peg on the back of that thing. So it's meant to fit these larger pegged backs. And you just kind of slide your figures in there and just press down on it. Hopefully without doing that. But that's pretty much it. And then it does sit pretty close as far as the handlebars there. So he's going to be kind of steering it with his mouth, I guess. But still, it does work. You can kind of move the arms around a little bit to have him grab hold and look a little bit more like he's actually flying it. So yeah, overall pretty cool looking. And now we're going to look at the figure itself. This is Barrel Roll. Overall, it's a pretty cool sculpt. Got some nice detail work. Again, remember this was 2003, so the type of figure is much more geared towards the vintage line. They did do a little bit better sculpting with the heads and things like that, but the overall construction was pretty much the same as before. They did kind of slim the figures down a little bit, except in the arms. You can get kind of a nice slim profile on these things as opposed to the kind of blocky original vintage line. Anyways, looking at just articulation here, we've got a head that does rotate 360 degrees. And it does have some up and down motion as well, which is pretty cool. The shoulder is, swivel and ball joint, so plenty of articulation there. The traditional swivel at the mid bicep, I guess, just above the elbow. Then you do have elbow articulation as well. And you also have a swivel at the wrist. So quite a bit of good articulation in these things. These are kind of the O-ring version still, so you do have the twist at the waist, and it can kind of rock around however you want to, so cool. Then the actual hip joints are again that kind of T-hook, so you've got all the articulation you want there. This one particularly is kind of loose, but again, it was made in 2003, so not that surprising that it's a little loose on us. Then you've got a single knee joint and no articulation at the ankle, but that's pretty standard for this particular year of figures. So yeah, overall very cool. Again, it's got a lot of really nice articulation, nice detail work in the costume. And overall, it just looks pretty nice. So yeah. We'll go ahead and look at the accessories too while we're here. He does come with this one large rifle, and it fits in his hand actually pretty easily. That's one good thing about all these figures, is they didn't start really having problems with grip or anything like that. So he can hold the weapon fairly easily and not really have any problems with it. So it works really well, actually. Then for the rest of the accessories, we have this one really cool looking helmet. And it just fits on top of his head. And it doesn't look that bad actually on his head. It fits pretty nicely. It does would be nice if it fit a little bit further down, but it does work. The chest piece again has some pretty nice detail work on it, and it just actually just snaps on his torso like so. And then these two wrist gauntlets that just snap straight on like so. We've got some nice color variations in there, so the nice kind of gunmetal gray and then the red highlights works really well for this particular set. Gives it kind of a nice menacing look, as it were. So this is the Cobra version, or so it's barrel roll in his Cobra disguise. Then you just pop the armor off and he's back to his G.I. Joe self. So yeah, overall it's a pretty cool looking figure, and the accessories work really well. No problems with it whatsoever. So pretty standard for the Spy Troops line and the G.I. Joe versus Cobra line in general. So yeah, it's pretty cool. For size comparison, you can kind of see here the actual glider itself is actually pretty big. The figure here to kind of compare with, so it is about 3 figures long and not quite half a figure wide basically. But still, it's a very nice vehicle, very cool looking. As far as how this fits in with the 25th anniversary line and up, we have our handy dandy beachhead figure here that we have been using for pretty much all of our comparison shots. So you can see side by side, it's pretty much the same scale. So I think the 25th is a little bit taller, but they work pretty well. They integrate pretty well with all these things, so not a big issue. Out of curiosity, we're going to take the helmet, and it does slide on beachhead pretty easily. It is a little bit loose, but still it's kind of nice to use those accessories where you can. And the elbow or the arm bracers kind of fit pretty well also, so you can kind of use this to kind of beef up your 25th anniversary line if you're so inclined. The only problem is, so the peg holes on the back of the 25th anniversary line are too small to fit in with this particular vehicle, so you can't attach them, but you can just kind of stick them in there and pretend like they're flying. So it kind of works that way. But if you're looking for the vehicle to fit in with the 25th anniversary line, you're probably better off going ahead and just picking up one of the newer remolded versions. Again, they're pretty cheap, but it does work. It fits in line, so you won't have any scale issues at least. So yeah, overall, this is a pretty solid release. I don't know, it's the G.I. Joe versus Cobra and Spy Troops line wasn't really all that popular. So you can actually get these things pretty cheap nowadays. So, if you're in the mood to kind of beef up your line, I would say go ahead and pick this thing up. It's really nice that you have these kind of interchangeable pieces to make it into the Cobra or the Joe thing. And you could use this for some, customization work or something. So you could attach this to a fire bat or something like that and make it look pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So not a bad release at all considering the age and time frame and everything. So that's our review for the G.I. Joe vs. Cobra Spy Troops Air Assault Glider and Barrel Roll. All in all, it's a pretty cool set, especially considering the age of this thing now. The concept with the whole Spy Troops line was very interesting. You have, G.I. Joe or Cobra figures who essentially are infiltrators, and they pull armor and things to disguise themselves as the enemy. It's a really cool concept. That particular line didn't quite take off as well as they had hoped, I guess. So right now they're actually pretty easy to come by on the secondary market. This particular set is pretty cool because you do have the really cool Air Assault Glider that has the detachable armor to turn it from Joe to Cobra. And that's really a cool concept as well. The actual barrel roll figure is pretty much just average. Nothing really special about it. But it's kind of nice to have it as a part of the collection anyway. So if you can find one for a decent, cheap price, pick it up. I don't think you'll be too disappointed. So that's pretty much all the time we've got for today. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to our channel below. Leave us some comments in the feedback section. Let us know how we're doing. If you'd like to see anything in future episodes, feel free to post that below as well. And pretty much until next time, happy hunting and yo Joe.